What if the real reason your prayers feel unanswered isn't heaven being silent, but your daily choices being loud? What if it's not about waiting on God, but about habits you've unknowingly allowed to stand between you and what He wants to release? Before this video ends, you'll probably recognize at least one pattern you practice today that quietly shuts doors God is trying to open. And the uncomfortable part, Scripture has warned us about these patterns all along. Let's begin with the one almost no one talks about seriously anymore. Unforgiveness. Not the dramatic kind, but the quiet kind. The resentment you carry politely. The pain you've learned to live with. Jesus didn't soften His words here. He made it clear. When we refuse to forgive, we interrupt our own flow of grace. That unresolved hurt from years ago, the betrayal, the disrespect, the disappointment, may still be echoing in your spirit. And bitterness doesn't just sit there. It clogs everything. God moves freely through surrendered hearts, not guarded ones. Next is something we do without even realizing it. Complaining. It slips into our conversations easily. About delays, about money, about life, not matching our expectations. But every complaint subtly says, God, this isn't enough. The Israelites learned this the hard way. What should have been a short journey turned into decades of wandering. Not because God changed His promise, but because their attitude delayed the destination. Gratitude shortens the wilderness. Complaining stretches it. Then there's a habit that social media has made almost unavoidable. Comparison. You glance at someone else's success, their relationship, their glow-up, and suddenly your own life feels smaller. But the moment you obsess over another person's path, you stop noticing what God is growing in your lane. Their blessing was never meant to be your blueprint. Envy doesn't inspire, it distracts. And distraction is expensive in the spiritual realm. The fourth barrier hides behind a respectable mask. Fear disguised as realism. Worry that sounds responsible. Anxiety that feels logical. But Scripture is clear. Faith isn't optional if you want to please God. Fear and faith both require belief. One believes God will fail. The other believes God will show up. You cannot speak defeat all day and expect victory to answer. What you constantly expect is often what you empower. And finally, the most sensitive one, letting money outrank God. This isn't about wealth. It's about priority. When work replaces worship, when income decisions silence conviction, when stress over provision overshadows trust, the moment something else becomes your source, it also becomes your ceiling. God has no limits. Paychecks do. Side hustles do. Savings accounts do. When you rely on temporary providers, you restrict access to eternal supply. Here's the truth no one tells you gently. These habits don't just delay blessings, they delay transformation. Every grudge, every complaint, every comparison, every fearful word, every misplaced priority quietly builds a wall where God intended a doorway. But here's the hope. You don't have to fix everything. You just have to start with one. One forgiveness, one grateful response, one boundary with comparison, one faith-filled declaration. One decision to put God back in first place. God isn't asking for perfection. He's responding to willingness. The moment you make room, heaven moves. Peace replaces pressure. Clarity replaces confusion. Provision finds you. Doors open without force. The blessing was never far. It was waiting for space. If this message spoke to you, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with someone who's been praying but feels stuck. And comment below which habit you're choosing to break today. Subscribe for scripture-based content that challenges, convicts, and strengthens real faith. Without noise, without fluff. Stop building walls. God is already reaching with bridges.